I always look at it like this. You can't make any shots you don't take.
100%.
Yeah, and I live with the results. It is what it is. I put the work in and I live with the results.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Dr. J.J. Thomas Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. J.J. Thomas Podcast. I'm J.J. Thomas. I'm here with a special friend and guest today, Jameer Nelson. Thanks, Nelson.
You're welcome.
Nelson. I better redo that. Why did I just call you Nelson?
I don't know. A lot of people call me Nelson. It's funny, my family members call me Nelson.
Really?
Yeah. Like my brother, he's like, what's up, Nelson? So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Jameer has a long history in the NBA. He's a super stud athlete, and his career has challenged him through many different ways, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have him on the show with us. Jameer's been a patient with us and his entire family.
Yeah.
And he always has great insight on working with athletes, on his years as being an athlete in the NBA himself. And now Jameer has taken a role with the Delaware Blue Coats, which is the G League team of the Sixers, and also has another role with the Sixers as well. So we'll get into that. He wears a lot of hats in leadership in the athletic world, and that's one of the reasons I'm just excited to have him here with us today. So thanks, Jameer.
Thanks for having me.
One of the things I wanted to get into first is really just a little bit of your history and your background in your early years, and just give the audience a little bit of background about how you got into basketball and your journey there.
Yeah, so I grew up in Chester, small city, 40,000, 35,000 people, and sports was kind of the way out because poverty and high crime and things like that. So just for me and other people that I was around, we played a ton of sports. And growing up, I played football, basketball, and baseball. Baseball was my number one sport, then football, then basketball, up until my ninth grade, my freshman year of high school. I decided to play basketball full time. Baseball got boring, and football got real. So that's when they really started hitting. And I was
that is true. You're like, whoa, yeah.
Like this, I don't know. So, but basketball was something I started to like gravitate to more than the other two sports, just because I think it was a lot of the action. It's action every play, even if you don't have the ball. So, and where I'm from, basketball is king. Like, so when you're a basketball player and you're good in Chester, like the entire city embraces you and they support you. And for me, like, it's funny, people are like, oh, well, had a great supporting cast. I had a whole city behind me.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate the people and my supporting cast throughout my years of growing up.
I think you bring up a really important point about athletics that I love too with all athletics. Like it's true across the board. It just depends on the community is what makes it different. And like some businessmen and women, they do business on the golf course, right? And like it sounds like growing up, your community, it's like you earned respect on the basketball court, and then the community gave you all that respect back because you earned it. That's really cool.
It's funny you say I earned my respect because I actually did. At my sophomore year, I technically played the best player in Chester. That's what he was known as during that time. He was a little older than me. We played one-on-one, and I can say it now, we played for money. People, one-on-one, we played for a couple $1,000s.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was kind of like.
Sophomore year of high school?
Sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
He was already like probably college or out of college. And he was well-respected as an athlete from, Chester. So to me, it's like I just wanted to play, whatever.
Yeah.
My buddy, he was like, hey, Jameer's better than this guy, better than this guy. So we played and I beat him. So that's when I was like, people were like, oh, man, this dude is pretty good.
That's
so
awesome.
I earned my stripes.
So that was your sophomore year. And then when did you decide to go to St. Joe's?
So St. Joe's started recruiting me summer after my sophomore year, going into my junior year.
They heard about that. They were on the sidelines.
It's funny. So they actually came to see somebody else play.
Huh.
And I was playing against, and they never told me, I don't even know if I ever asked. They came to recruit somebody else that I was playing against, and I did my thing, and they started recruiting me.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I stuck with them. Like, even when the bigger schools came and recruited me, I stuck with St. Joe's just because they were the school that came first, and they were loyal. And I felt, that I'm a loyal person.
Yeah.
I like to think I am, I guess.
No, you are. I can say that, like, knowing you through the years, it's been so fun. You are, but it's like it's a loyalty not just out of obligation. It's a loyalty because you believe in that respect, and
Yes.
it shows. It shows in your conversations with us, and I know it shows in your conversations with your athletes. It's awesome.
No. Yeah. So I ended up earning my stripes, and St. Joe's recruited me, and went there for 4 years, and had a really successful career individually and as a university. Making it to the NCAA tournament 3 times, or 3 years out of my 4, and my last year made it to the Elite 8, and somebody missed a shot to send it to or win the game for us.
Oh, stop! Oh my
missed a
God,
shot.
you're hilarious.
Yeah, but I always look at it like this: you can't make any shots you don't take.
100%.
Yeah, and I live with the results. It is what it is. I put the work in, and I live with the results.
Yeah, and you made thousands of other shots,
Yes,
by the way.
yes.
Actually, we were talking to David. You guys that are local here know David is one of our admins, and he's awesome. And David's very eclectic in terms of his knowledge of all different types of things. And we were talking, and when I first told him you were going to come on the show, he's like, he's actually might be embarrassed. I'm sorry, David, I did give this up. But he's like, he's like, JJ, he's like, I don't know if other people know this, but Jameer basically changed the world of basketball with his 3 points, with his 3-pointers. And I was thinking of that, like when I saw that Maxey shot, I think I started reading up on some of your history and stuff like that, and I'm like, I think David's right. I think Jameer did. So
That's funny.
So David didn't remember that shot. He remembered all the positives.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember all of the not bad plays, but the plays I could have done something different, or not that I regret things. I'm like, oh, I should have did this, or I could have did that. I never remember. I remember I made this good play or that good play.
Right.
Because most of my good plays are because of my instincts. And
Exactly.
So it's not like, I don't know. But David,
I also think I think you're a phenomenal athlete, and I think from what I see in all the phenomenal athletes I work with is that they have a standard that's here, and so you're inclined to review those over your head because you're like, well, how do I change that? How do I change that, or how do I change that for my athletes? Like now as a GM, you're like, how do I change that for my athletes, right?
Yes. It's different. Like, everybody said, or most people said when I was playing, that I'll be such a great coach. And I'm not closing the door on coaching. I love what I'm doing. I love helping and almost like getting to coach in my own way.
Yeah.
Help these guys grow and get to where they need to be in terms of their development on and off the floor. The most important thing about my job is me giving back to the game. And I think a lot of former athletes should do this in their own way. And whether it's training on the side or working for an NBA team or whatever sport they play for, or coaching, because it's no other way. Like you learn from other athletes, right? We can talk about different things and that other people do, but athletes teach athletes. Mm-hmm. So
that's right. And actually, you and I were talking before the show about how it is probably different, like your role as GM with the Blue Coats versus if you were their coach. Mm-hmm. It's a little different, but you're also giving them the same support. Yes. And I was saying it must be really cool for them to have you as a phenomenal player that, you earned that respect. But on another note with that is, like, I think about our kid, for example, I have 3 kids, and I think it's only natural for your kids to come to you. Like, some will come to me with things, sometimes they'll come to me with something, and they might go to my husband for something else. And your athletes have their coach, but they also have you. So they have all this, like, it's important to have that big support system.
No, you're right. And it's funny. I never wanted my son to play basketball.
Yeah.
Because, one, we have the same name, and 2, the pressure of my career will be added to him when he started playing. So he was a baseball player growing up, and I give a ton of advice to my kids, and my girls are softball players, pretty high level. So I try to like be in the background and just support rather than dictate or like tell them what they should do. I'll trick them every now and then, like, hey, today is a good day to go do this or go extra work. Yeah. So I figured out how to do it in a subtle way and not be demanding. Yeah. I think a lot of former athletes, as a former athlete, like, I had to mature in the area of parenting to help my athletes in my house. Yeah. Because I know a ton, and I know, the right way to do things and the wrong way because I've been through it. But I have to allow them to have their space to figure it out because they're different. And I had to realize that like years ago.
I think that is one of, like, if we could teach all parents that, I think that's so true. It's because I think even parents, I mean, maybe especially, maybe not just even, but even parents who weren't professional players have that same, it's like they know better, so they want to save their kids the trouble and not have them go through that learning that they went through, but they have to. It's part of the process, right?
It's part of the process,
Yeah.
and you also have to figure out at what point are you going to stop telling your kids it's okay.
Right.
It's okay not to work hard or whatever the case may be. But it's also like you have to allow them to fail too. That's the easiest way to teach them. I think I have a 11-year-old daughter who is now starting to love working on softball.
Right.
And it's because she's driving it. Like she'll go in the backyard and hit for an hour by herself.
That's awesome.
And it's because she wanted to be in a different part of the lineup.
I think that's right. I think when we try to force our kids, and so for the PTs watching, like, or our patients, when we try to force it on them and they don't, and they're not ready for it,
right.
We're basically robbing them the ability to earn their own respect.
Yeah, and the lesson.
Because we're forcing it down their throat rather than them making the choice of I'm gonna choose to go out for an hour, or I'm gonna choose to do my Froggers,
The Frogger. I see you on social media doing the Froggers like once a week, twice a week, and I'm like, man, I hate those things.
They're my favorite.
I know. I'm like, man, those things are like they're good for you, but they're just like. Tough.
They're hard. I know.
Hard.
I gotta come in and do some Froggers with the boys. Put the blue coats on the ground.
Yes.
It'll be fun.
They would love that. I'm sure they would love it.
It will be so fun.
It's funny, like you don't realize how much things like that matter to athletes because it's a change of pace. We need structure and we need consistency, but we also need things to break it up. That'll be fun for the guys.
Exactly.
Like some days when we warm up, we throw a football around.
That's awesome.
Or we play tag.
That's awesome.
We do certain things that's like not as traditional as like, hey, get on the line, stretch.
They're like
warm
lighter.
Up. Yes.
You feel like I'm just having fun in the community.
Yes.
That's so cool.
As an athlete, you have a long season, and you have to break up the monotony.
Basketball season is so long. I know. I'm impressed. It is long, and like you said, it's fast paced. Like there's so much.
I mean, after the first month, you kind of get into a groove, and you in your routine, you kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. But then when you get to February, March, you're like, man,
I'm tired.
Like everybody hits a wall at some point. My wall was always probably around March.
Yeah.
Because I was on good teams, especially when I was on the good teams, I wanted to continue to grow and get better for the playoffs, but I wanted the playoffs to happen.
Yeah.
So, because that's what I'm preparing for. I'm preparing for the playoffs.
You got to get there, right?
Yeah. So when you see March, you can almost touch the playoffs because April is the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a grind. It's fun though. It's fun. I mean, some days you wake up and you're in whatever city you don't know your room number, you don't know what hotel you're in. I had to call multiple people multiple times to ask, like when I left my hotel, what hotel are we in? And then so I finally started typing it in my phone and typing my room number in my phone.
Like when I take the picture of my car at the airport now.
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yep.
What else? So as you're talking about that, I'm thinking one of the things I wanted to pick your brain on is being such a, you've been such a success, like first as an athlete and now as a leader in the organizations. And I think I personally put a lot of stake in the discipline that is required to do that. Like, I think we were talking about this before the show too, how, younger athletes oftentimes they see the very successful player and they think they just fell out of the sky like that. But nobody comes out like that. Everybody goes through the work, goes through the discipline. Yeah. And so I guess my question to you is, what do you attribute all the success to?
So for me, I think it's different levels of it for everybody. And there are some players who are just naturally better and gifted, who don't have to work as hard as others. But for me, I'm, again, from Chester, Pennsylvania. I beat those odds. I'm 6 foot. I beat those odds. It's just a lot of things that I individually have inside of me that challenge myself to do these certain things.
It's a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell people when I was a player, and it's, a lot of people don't believe it, but my workout days, like in the off season, was 6 to 8 hours, depending on the day, depending on like time of the year and things like that. Be a couple hours at a time, take a break, couple hours, something else for a couple hours, take a break, like continuous, 5 days a week. And then as I got older, I started to work a little different, but it still was like efficient work.
Focused.
Yeah. So basically my point is, like, you have to put the work in. Like, the results may not happen right away. And I think a lot of young athletes don't realize you're actually putting deposits in the bank.
That's awesome.
You're putting deposits in the bank, and you know, at some point you're going to need to make a withdrawal.
Yeah.
And that deposit needs to be there. So I always look at things as like my perspective, not everybody's, but work is universal. Like, you can't work hard, or you can't work. I guess a little bit and expect a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
You're right. It's an equation.
Yes, and it's for life. It's not just for, like, I'm an athlete, but like the things that I've done as an athlete, it helps me in life. Like, if I wanted to be, I don't know, whatever else, I know how to work hard.
It's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is like it all started from, sophomore year on that community basketball court, and you just put the work in, and then it went to your NBA career, and then now towards your career as a GM.
Yep.
I actually, as you were talking about the equations and having to put the work in, David Edelman said to me, and it's a quote from somebody else, but I can't think of who it is now, but he said, success isn't owned, it's rented.
It's rented.
I love that.
You got to pay rent every day.
You got to pay the rent every
Every
day.
day.
I love that.
Every day.
And it's true whether you're coaching or running or, GMing or playing or a physical therapist or a patient. Like, you got to pay the rent.
You got to pay the rent every day. And like, again, like it's not fun at times, but if you want to accomplish something, you want something, or you can see it, you got to go get it. And how you get it is continue to work. You put your head down, and you live with the results. A lot of people, and it's funny, a lot of people don't want to be good at things because you have to. If you're good and you lead, you have to be good and lead every day.
Yeah.
And that is it's not for everybody. It's not.
You're right. It's not as right. It looks sexy from the sidelines.
Yes.
But when you're in it, it's not always sexy.
Yeah. And people think success is this. And you go down, and you got to figure out a way up, and you're leading, and you're having a bad day at home, but how do I then put this aside to go and perform at my optimal level?
Yeah.
So like for me, I was focused. I was very selfish in my career because I knew I had a short window, and my goal was to play 10 years. I ended up playing 14.
Yeah.
And when I got to 14, I was like, man, I can get to 15. But I was like, my body, I squeezed all the juice out the lemon.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's awesome. 14 is pretty darn good.
14 is, 10 was the goal. And like I said, when I got to 9, I was like, oh, I can get 15.
Oh, yeah.
I can get 15.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're a legend around here. We have Jameer's jersey up in our office, and he was kind enough to say some nice things on it. And you don't know how many. If I gave you a nickel for every time somebody was like, Jameer, it's like everybody knows Jameer.
It's funny. Don't tell. What's it called, Johnny's Pizza?
Yeah.
So
my God, I love him.
Yeah, I had his pizza for the first time last week, and he's been asking me for a jersey. I'm like,
so
Johnny,
I won't tell him. He hasn't been in here yet.
Well, it's already out now.
That's so funny. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Johnny. You'll get there, John.
Yeah.
Johnny, you stick some needles in him, you'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Tell me about your transition to your current role. Tell me a little bit more about, maybe some of the challenges. Have there been any challenges, or has it been like, wow, this is awesome? Tell me about your new role.
The role is, one, managing and leading a group. I'm an easy leader and manager. I don't hover. I don't micromanage. I have a thing where it's bottom up leadership, right? So everybody has a section of the Blue Coats that they're responsible for, and we expect each other to do to do the individual job for that group. I tell my staff, like, if you guys need help, just let me know. If not,
You're good.
You're good.
Cool.
There's no reason to check in every day on something. There's no reason to have all these different meetings if we don't need them.
Yeah.
And I try to be around the group as much as possible. I mean, because I still do college scouting, so I'm on the road quite a bit. I do NBA stuff as well. And I also have a family. So trying to balance all of what I do is hard, but it's manageable. I mean, my wife has been great and very understanding of what I'm trying to accomplish.
She's awesome.
Yeah. But it's every day not every day, but I often put fires out.
Yeah.
Because I have to deal with the agents.
Yeah.
It's going to be some people on the team unhappy. And I just manage them in a way I know how I want to be or what would have wanted to be managed. So
Yeah.
or how I've been taught.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I just take my experiences and the things I've learned on this side and kind of blend my own opinion on things and form my own work. And so far, like I've been pretty successful at it. It's challenging because the G League level, it's a fluid situation where you can have one team this week, the next week you got 3 guys get call-ups.
Oh, really?
You got to find guys in different cities. Like it's like for a while we had, I think we had 7 players, and you have to have 8 to play. So a couple times I'll call an agent, hey, do you have a guy in Atlanta? He's like, yeah, he'll go play for a day.
That's amazing. It's literally like
Yes.
Little League Baseball that way. You know what I mean? Like calling them up.
Yes,
Wow.
You get a call up, but also the people that you're calling up, they're getting opportunities.
That's great.
So like it's like I said, it's fluid. It's fluid, and we have a good infrastructure in place because our staff has been together and we understand each other. It's a well-oiled machine, and I think that the support that I get from the Sixers and the owners and things like that, I think that allows me to be myself and run a program the way I want to run it.
That's cool. Well, I feel like you earned that, you know.
No,
No,
you got to earn everything.
You do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. I think that, I obviously can't speak for them, but I think it's true. I think from what I know a fair number of the community members of Sixers and you from Blue Coats. It just seems like everybody they're based on respect, which is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
When you were talking about, I love the dynamic of that fluid, guys getting called up, and because it also, I imagine that keeps the level of play pretty high in the sense that like, although you have to adapt to now this new guy and figuring out how they're going to blend with the team in a certain way, it also keeps everybody, the freshness of it probably keeps everybody on their game a little bit.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to stay ready.
Yeah.
And you have to be good at your job. And we have what you call two-way players. We get 3 of them, so they can go play for the Sixers or the Blue Coats.
Oh, cool.
But they get 50 games for the Sixers, and they can't play in the playoffs. So in the course of a season, if they're not playing for the Sixers, they'll send them down.
Got it.
And they'll play for us. So then that knocks a guy out who won't play.
Got it.
Of course, that guy is a competitor. He's mad, but stay ready.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate to have some really good pros at the G League level who understands, even through their frustration, that this is how it goes.
Yeah.
And you can't control it.
Right.
It is what it is, and we move on.
And if I just keep my head down and keep
Yes.
working, maybe next year I'll be that guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and that's all these guys. The goal is to develop them to win, because you want to develop in a winning environment as much as you can, and you want guys to be happy. And it seems like they're happy in our program, but also you want them to get paid. I mean, you want them to get paid by the Sixers, but we had a guy who got a pretty lucrative deal in Europe this year. We had another guy who got picked up by another team. A couple other guys got picked up by a couple teams. So you sad that they go because they're really good players.
Yeah.
But it's part of my job as a former player too to help these guys, not necessarily just prolong their career, but like continue their career and kind of help them
Elevate 'em.
excel. Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun seeing young athletes grow and it's a little weird when they first talk to me because
Yeah.
they're like, oh my God.
They feel nervous.
Yeah, like a little nervous. They'll say, I used to play with you on 2K, stuff like that.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I'm like, oh man, I got to break the ice with this guy in a different way.
Yeah.
And I try to be as transparent with them. I try to communicate with them as much as possible. And I tell them the truth. I'm not going to, like, if a guy is not playing good, I tell him.
Yeah.
And he'll ask me, how does he get better? And I'll tell him, this is how I think you can get better. Or sometimes I'll filter it through the coaches.
Yeah.
In a subtle way, because I have to also allow the coaches to grow too and figure out things.
It's awesome. I'm loving hearing like that. All of what you just said, I want to bottle up. I'm gonna save it for myself because it's such a good leadership. Like I'm sitting here thinking about, a lot of people that listen to my podcast are PTs trying to open their own cash-based practice, and I feel like a lot of the struggles come really it's leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Like leadership is what drives so many businesses, and we were talking about the business side of things earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And everything you just said is helpful for PTs who are opening their practice and thinking about how to because you want to make sure we want to make sure our PTs, our staff are always playing their best, so to speak, and you got to be honest with them when they're not.
Yes, you have to.
because you're on the mission.
Yeah,
The mission is to win games. The mission is to get people better. That's cool.
Yeah, we also have a motto with the Blue Coats. I'm not a huge Bruce Lee fan. I love Bruce Lee for what he did, but it's the whole be water motto.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you have to be water. And my counterpart, my coworker who was the general manager of the Blue Coats before me, he came up with that along with the coach that was there before the coach that we have now, and then I added to it weather the storm. Be prepared for the storm is coming. Your job is not to stop the storm because you can't.
Yeah.
Your job is to figure it out and get through it, and because there's going to be another one coming. So we have a good understanding of how to basically handle adversity. And I think at that level, at the minor league level, that's what you have to do because it's going to be a ton of adversity hit. And it hits at the NBA level as well, but it's just a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little different in the NBA than it is in minor league. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think because they're probably still struggling at that point with, honestly, I think imposter syndrome is real at every level, first of all. I was just going to say, it might be harder at the minor league level because they still feel like they're trying to prove themselves. But I can only imagine that you get to the NBA
still trying to prove
level
yourself.
And you're still trying to prove yourself. So as I interrupted myself because I'm like, who are you kidding?
Yeah.
You got to prove, like we said, you got to pay the rent every day. It doesn't matter.
Every day.
Doesn't matter what level you're at.
Nope.
So, yeah. That's good stuff, Jameer.
Finally got me on the podcast. We've been trying to do this for months.
I know. Thank you so much.
No,
I know.
so.
Now, next is a workout, we said.
Workout and,
Maybe a little workout drink afterward.
little whiskey. No, that's fun.
Oh, it's awesome.
No, and I mean, just speaking about PTs and people that helped me, I had a ton of people help me throughout my career, like trainers, PTs, and strength coaches and things like that. And you don't as a young player, I don't know if I realized how important they were to me.
Yeah.
But once I got to around year 10, 11, 12, I started to do things different where I would bring in my own PT to help me out with things, or I would call you in the summer to help me out with things.
Yeah.
Where before it was I'm young, I figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's no, I have these resources that are really good. And just like if you're going to school, you're struggling with school, you get a tutor.
That's right.
I had to figure out a way to do it. And one of the guys that helped me out the most was my trainer in Orlando. His name is Keon Weiss, and a PT that I use, two PTs. One name was his name is Derek McBride, really good. He was in Denver, and another guy named is Andy Barr.
Okay.
Along with you, the group that helped me don't even know each other.
Yeah.
But I gravitated towards you because of the way Derek and Andy helped me.
Right.
Because everybody was worked the same way, and I was like, okay, this makes sense.
I would love to hear, I would love to hear your perspective. Yeah, what do you mean by that? Like, just so that when PTs know especially what high-level athletes will value in their work, like what made the three of us similar, I guess.
How genuine you are and how you treated me as a person.
Ah.
That's the main thing, because and no disrespect to any PT or any doctor or anything, but you guys are all high level, all really smart. And I didn't have any like major injuries, so I could have gotten help from a lot of different places. But for me, it's like I'm not gonna go somewhere where I don't have a relationship